I was driving across Kentucky and Ohio, listening to Eastbound and Down by Jerry Reed, Driving My Life Away, all these great road trip songs, the classic American road trip. And thinking about how we have become so fond of imagining that energy is all down to ideology when really it is about freedom. And freedom isn't in your brain, freedom is often in your pocketbook. Because when I'm traveling, I don't usually spend my time in the rooms of the great and the good and the big and the powerful, although I'm summoned on occasion. I do always make sure I go to the supermarket and to the gas station. Because when you go to those places, you learn a lot about how people are living. And in this case, you can tell the energy pandemic is not just about big macroeconomics or the market or geopolitics. It is about kitchen table economics. Because I was driving this amazing truck. I was having such a good time, right? Like, felt really cool. And I got out to fill it up. And I was immediately thinking, like, ooh, how much do I want to go out this weekend? What else could I go without? And you can see other people start to do that mental calculation. Maybe you've done that yourself. That is what is happening now. You don't have to believe in climate change. You don't have to disbelieve in climate change. That framing is over. It is about security, diversity, not ideology. And for those who are finding themselves really exposed, if you are someone like the Philippines who imports 98% of their liquefied natural gas from the Strait of Hormuz, you are thinking what's coming next. Now, there, a lot of them have gone back to charcoal. So it's not always green. But there are also places where in Latin America, like Colombia, where they're doing amazing stuff with battery storage. They have more than enough renewable projects going. They just need to figure out how to harness it. Other places in South Asia are realizing, wait a second, we have the power, we don't have the infrastructure. So it is about microgrids. There is not one energy transition happening, just like there isn't one crisis. This is a poly-transition, if you like that term. It's going to look different no matter where you are. And so there's a risk and there is a huge opportunity for those who are open to say, okay, what does this country need? I do find it sad that somewhere like Tuvalu or Vanuatu, Tuvalu's been having daily blackouts because they don't have the money to pivot. They're exposed. The most of their energy comes from fuel imports that go into diesel generators. Clinics are run on that, government buildings, homes, and right now there's not much they can do. And they've also been the Pacific Island poster child for climate change. So sometimes these things do dovetail together. And the reason I mentioned Vanuatu is because that's a place I've been to, right? It was so beautiful, happiest country on earth, and sunshine all the time, but not in a place to take advantage of it yet. But you darn sure know that people are thinking about it now. Because at the end of the chain, what people want is certainty. And that is, if we're looking at a crisis that Faith Birol has said is more severe than 1973, 1979, and 2022 combined, then people need to be thinking, uh-oh, right? Nobody wants to be spirit. The spirit of business past. I think about this for the future also with positivity. And maybe that's because I'm Canadian. There are deals now, things that were like, oh, will we ever sell to anything other than the States? Well, a deal's been made with Germany. Does that scale? There are a lot of things in the way. Like changing from exporting to the States to exporting across the Atlantic is the work of a decade. It's not traditionally the work of a quarter. However, I would point back to my energy pandemic framing, which is humans are amazing at adapting. And when we realize how great the risk is, we often find a way to get things done. So I'm not counting us out on bringing these time horizons down now. And there is good news, right? It's not all cooking with charcoal. It is, again, that, solar is on track. Battery storage overall is coming down. It's just not good news at the gas pump or in the grocery store or in Tuvalu. And, the United States might say that it is insulated, that they are producing their own oil, that they are able to set the terms. But if you have voters who are paying $4 a gallon, as I did in Kentucky, then that's not insulation, that's exposure. And when you are exposed, it is not just to energy. It's on infrastructure. It is on politics, because politics is public mood. So an energy shock like this is running through so many systems. Airlines, see the spirit of business is past. Manufacturing, consumer confidence, everything. This is an accelerant. And it's an opportunity for those who would say, all right, this is a moment to do things differently. How can we do that? Some are going to try and double down on, the old model. Others are going to say, how can I make those microgrids? How can I get those parts that these tiny nations need there in time? How can I create community-based energy projects in the UK? It's going to look different in a million different places, but it is an opportunity as well. Just not to pay less at the gas pump. Roughly 70% of the world don't have oil reserves to ride this out. And many lack the resources to pivot. So even if the long-awaited, really now it's happening, ceasefire is finally announced, we are in a time of change. So the questions that I would be asking is not just where are you exposed, but who in your supply chain or your customer base are absorbing some of this that they're not going to be able to just pivot out of. That's one. And where are you still assuming that energy is going to stay cheap and available and politically boring, even if everything we've seen so far in 2026 has told you that's not the case? Where are you still assuming that? And what happens to the consumers who are doing the maths at the pump? If they start saying, like I did, ooh, I don't know, how does that affect you? How does that affect us? Because sometimes mood music is the way to kill a road trip.